Okay, on the graph, how would f of x relate to g of x, Tyler?
What?
How would f of x relate to g of x on this graph if f of x is less than g of x? Looking at the graph, if f of x is less than g of x, how would they compare to each other? Would they be equal? Would one be above the other? Would one be below?
In the spots where f of x is less than g of x, f of x would be below g of x.
Yes, and that's what I was wanting you to tell me. Good. So if f of x is less than g of x, then f of x is below the graph of g of x. So looking up here, we want f of x to be below g of x, and f of x is the dotted line. So from where to where is the dotted line below the solid line? Anybody?
Negative 0.25 to 9.
Yeah, from here to here. What?
Is it to infinity?
And then from, well, not to infinity, but and then to, I guess it's 11. Let's see what you're saying. Because the solid line stops at 11. Excellent question. So what she said was the two dots we just figured out. Negative 0.25 to 9. And it doesn't include those. And the reason why it doesn't include those is because at those points it's 0. That's what we got up here. Or they were equal to each other. And then from 9 to 11. And it does include 11, because 11 is below it. So, thinking about what the graph would be, kind of thinking about this statement, what's the value of x such that f of x is greater than g of x? How would that play out in the graph? It'd be what?
It would be above.
It would be above. Very good. So if f of x is greater than g of x, then f of x is above the graph of g of x. And it's good to write it out in word form too, so when you go back and look at these, you're like, what? And you can kind of figure out what we did. So, Kendrick, where's that happening? Negative 1 to negative. Okay, here's what you said. You said negative 1. Oops, that's not negative 1. Negative 1 to negative 5. I want to know where that dotted line is above the solid line on the x-axis. Can we agree that it's here? Okay, so tell me what that is on the x. Negative 0.25 or 2, yeah, to negative 9. And we always go from least to greatest. So you're right, we would just say it in a different way. We'd say from negative 9 to negative 0.25. It would be for the negative 9. Oh, wait. Not for the negative 9 because it's a open circle. And not here because they touch here. So yes, it would be open parentheses, not a bracket. Good question. Okay, so we want the value of x such that f of x is greater than 0. So if f of x is greater than 0, then what does that tell us about the graph of x? F of x, I mean. Is above which axis? Yep, the x-axis. Good. Which you're right, it is 0, but because I didn't know for sure if you were talking about 0 on y or 0 on x, that's why we say x-axis. So I want you to look at where f of x is greater than 0 and see if you can write the interval or intervals where that happens. So we're looking where f of x is above the x-axis. So on what interval or intervals would that be? Does anybody have it? Negative 9 to what? To 1. Okay. Is that it?
15.
Yeah. We remember, hopefully, that this line actually extended out to 15, and so from 15 it's above. So from 15 to infinity. Oh, good. So that is negative 9 to 1. Doesn't include negative 9 because negative 9 is an open circle. And then 15 again doesn't include 15 because that's actually on the x-axis. And to infinity, and it cannot include infinity. So that's why they're all parentheses and not brackets. Next things we're going to be talking about are increasing, decreasing, and constant. So remember, you read a graph from left to right. So if it's increasing, it's going to be going up. If it's decreasing, it's going to be going down. And if it's constant, it's going to be staying the same. Yes. Okay. So the value of x such that g of x is increasing. If g of x is increasing, then what's the graph doing? Yeah. Then the graph is, I'm going to use the word rising, but going up is fine. From left to right. See if you can tell the interval or intervals where that will happen, and that's for g of x. So that's the solid line. Okay, where do you think it's increasing?
-5 to 3.
-5 to 3. So it looks like it's also down here at -6.
-6 to 3.
And then is it still increasing after -3? Is it still rising?
Yeah.
Yeah. It's just not at the same rate. It's rising more slowly, but it's still rising here. So actually from -6 to 3, it's rising. And maybe that's what you said, 3 and not -3. Yeah. And then where else is it rising?
From 9 to 11.
9 to 11? Yeah, good. So -6 to 3 and 9 to 11. Did not include, again, because at those points where it changes, it's not actually increasing. Just in between those, it's increasing. So it's decreasing, then what's the graph doing? Going down, that's right. It's falling from left to right.